So I'm not buying it. This idea that you got surprised, Garcia, by the, revelation. You knew what you were taking, mate. Come on, you're a grown man. Just own it and put your hands up. Oh my gosh, you cheat. McGregor's coming out as well. I haven't done a McGregor natty or not, but that guy is getting a lot of muscle in a short space of time as well. I don't know anymore, man. What's going on YouTube? It's Jason, and welcome to day number 91 and day number 38 of my Razor Sharp series. So I've woken up to the news that Ryan Garcia failed a drugs test, and he failed it for a drug called Ostarine. Now, before I get into the whole what Ostarine is and what are the implications for his career, etc., I just want to point out a couple of things that I think make this thing so surprising. Number one, I think a lot of people start from the premise that athletes are natural. I think that's the biggest mistake people can make. The amount of money in sport at the highest level, we are talking tens of millions or even hundreds of millions in some boxers' cases. Why wouldn't you take steroids? This is not me being flippant, genuinely. The difference between you being a local amateur boxer and you being, let's say, a heavyweight champion and making hundreds of millions literally is sometimes, of course, there is skill and hard work, but sometimes it's the performance enhancing edge. So my question is, if you get reassured by your coach that you can beat the testing system, why wouldn't you take it? Unless you're someone who has, a lot of morals or high ethics, it's just something that you use to get ahead. And to be honest, if you are, if you've got your wits about you and you know that a lot of the athletes are taking it, why wouldn't you make it a level playing field? And this is why I said, I did a video last year about the enhanced games and everyone was going mental, like, how can we have an enhanced Olympic Games? Well, I said, at least in that situation, you would get a clear-cut thing between those who are taken and those who are not. Currently, we have people that are quote unquote natural, and you don't know whether they are actually natural or whether they're just beating the system. There was a Netflix documentary I watched called Icarus. I would strongly recommend you watch it. It changed the way I viewed steroids and drugs in sport generally. And it shows you how they beat the system, how they swap the urine samples, etc. Because, yeah, it's just messed up. And I think that, to be honest, Garcia isn't alone. I mean, you look back into the history, people like Mike Tyson has, he declined to do a pre-fight drug test. Canelo actually failed a drug test for clenbuterol. And it makes me think, I don't think these guys are alone. I think a lot of people are taking it and beating the system. And I don't think many top athletes, well, as many as we think anyway, are truly natural. The second thing I'd say is that even if he tested before the fight, it may not be his fault that he came out so late, because drugs test takes a certain amount of time to come back with the results. So even if they tested him, let's say 48 hours before the fight, his drug test result might not have produced until a day or two after. And so ultimately, I would say that's on the drug organization, WADA, or I think VADA, who carry out the testing, to test sooner, test enough time, test him in camp while you can actually catch him and ban him. But it's a shame, really, because I think it does undermine the integrity of the sport, but I can't say I'm shocked. As I said, the amount of money that's in sport at the highest level, why wouldn't you do it? And some of the guys that are calling out Garcia, oh my gosh, you cheat, McGregor's coming out as well. I haven't done a McGregor natty or not, but that guy is getting a lot of muscle in a short space of time as well. I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. I've got trust issues. So what is Ostarine? Ostarine is a selective androgen receptive modulator, or a SARM. It's a precursor to steroids. So let's say testosterone changes 5 things in your body, Ostarine would change like 3 to 4. So you don't get the full kind of side effects that you would normally get with full-blown gear, but you still get most, if not all, of the performance enhancement. Now, a lot of people take this and they think that it's a softer steroid and it's fine, but it's actually been deemed not fit for human consumption, so it's still dangerous to take. On the whole idea of athletes getting surprised when they get found out that they're on gear, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. If you're getting paid 20, 30 million pounds, you ought to do your due diligence. If your coach gives you anything, you ought to question it. So This idea that he didn't know, I would actually argue that a lot of these guys do know at this point. You know, we've seen enough case studies where people have been found out. You should know better, as far as I'm concerned. And when you start taking supplements and you notice an extreme or a difference in your performance, I would always look into the, ingredients that you're taking. Even if I took creatine, for example, I notice the difference when I'm on creatine to when I'm not. So I look and be like, oh, what am I taking? If my coach gave me something and I improve my performance, you should look into it. So I'm not buying it. This idea that you got surprised, Garcia, by the, revelation. You knew what you were taking, mate. Come on, you're a grown man. Just own it and put your hands up and take the consequences for your actions. But yeah, that's my tuppence on the whole kind of failed drug test thing. I think, honestly, it's a bit of a pandemic and it's more rife than we think. But anyways, that's enough of drugs for now. Let's get on with the day.
So for meal number one, we went to Bill's with the in-laws. I had eggs royale with smoked salmon and extra eggs, of course. It was really good. The eggs were definitely free range. Rebecca and I then went for a walk to get the extra steps in. It was a nice day for it. Then I got home and I had the usual, so Greek yogurt, granola and maple syrup. Then for lunch, we had fajitas with tortilla chips and a side of steak. It was absolutely phenomenal. Oh, party in my mouth. Then it was off to Dad's. Oh, and I had some fruit. Then it was actually off to Dad's. At Dad's, backed by popular demand, I had jollof, chicken steaks, broccoli, cauliflower and shiitake. So yeah guys, that is everything. Calories and macros on screen now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it if you did. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on Ryan Garcia's drugs test. Do you think he's telling the truth or do you think he is lying? Please subscribe to follow me on this journey and I'll see you again tomorrow.